welcome to Grand Finals here at the Cycle Turtle Plays League Challenge 5 tournament here at Big River, California. I am Jesus Coronel. That is Dennis Geisler. Our finalists are arguably the two best players in the SoCal region between Giovanni Costa and Junxi.
Yeah, not just two of the best players, not just arguably the two best players in this region, but two of the best players, like, in the country. I mean, these are two guys who are consistently making day twos at regionals and putting up great performances at some of these huge events.
And Gilles already locked in just before we can start talking about the teams that you should have been bringing. It's going to be, once again, Dragonite, Garchomp, Golden Go, Winscott, Incineroar, and Amoonguss for Gio. For Junxi, it's the Hisuian, Ursulina Hisui, which will be regular Ursulina for us. It'll be Amoonguss as well, Golden Go, Incineroar, Porygon 2, and Tyranitar.
Yeah, and I'm curious how Junxi wants to play this out. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but Junxi does have the Choice Scarf Tyranitar, which is obviously a little bit weird. It does certainly outspeed a lot of Gio's team. We probably are just not going to see it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see it. I don't think we're going to see it because Choice Scarf on the Tyranitar isn't really outspeeding much of anything. I think without the Tailwind, I think it's only, at best, outspeeding Incineroar.
Choice Scarf Tyranitar?
Yeah.
I think it paces Dragonite and Garchomp.
I don't think it paces Garchomp.
It gets pretty close. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I guess that's why we don't know about the Choice Scarf Tyranitar. Only Junxi does.
Yeah, exactly. I doubt we're going to see it, though, just because even if it does outspeed, it doesn't really do a whole lot. So I'd imagine we're probably just going to see a heavier Trick Room mode out of Junxi in this, and the question for Gio is, what do you do against that? And Whimsicott can certainly help with that tail, or with the Encore especially. Yeah,
because Junxi has no priority blocking in his arsenal. He will lead the duo of Incineroar's Golden Go, and Gio going to lead Dragonite Golden Go. But because of the inner focus, you cannot get an Intimidate drop onto the Dragonite.
Indeed you cannot, but Incineroar is still threatening the Parting Shot onto the Dragonite, which is always kind of annoying to deal with. These are different Golden Goes. Gio's is the Choice Specs, and Junxi's is the Nasty Plot, as we saw earlier.
With a Life Orb.
With a Life Orb. Obviously, Incineroar can't actually do anything with Fake Out, which is actually kind of intimidating. No pun intended, because it means that it's more likely to hit a move, and knockoff can be kind of destabilizing to some Pokemon. Particularly, it would hit Golden Go really hard.
It looks like your joke might have caught someone off laughing if you hit it earlier.
It wasn't that funny.
Alright, we see Garchomp coming in for the Golden Go slot, which I presume is going to be because of Flare Blitz coming out from the Incineroar, or knockoff for the latter. It's going to be a Terra Dragon from this Golden Go, so it might be affected by Ice Spinner if Gio raised it, but I think knowing him, he wouldn't do that. So it's probably going to be a safer move. It's going to be Fake Out into the Golden Go slot.
Wow, that's a prediction.
That would be predicted a Terra Seal there, not a Switch Out. Yeah. But here comes a Nasty Plot from this Golden Go, which is now a Dragon type, to get that special attack boost. Stomping Tantrum goes out. It should do decent damage, at least half, with that Choice Band.
Yeah, it did actually pretty decent damage to the Golden Go, and I think the Garchomp now is gonna pace pretty much everything here, speed-wise.
Can we just talk about how Junxi tried to read the Golden Go Terra instead of the Garchomp slot in?
Yeah, I mean, it's still connected, still got the chip down.
But it chipped Incineroar, too!
It did, in fact, chip Incineroar, too, but that's fine.
And now Gio's gonna rip the Terra, probably Garchomp the ground!
I think it's probably the Garchomp and just going for it. Yep. I mean, there are no flying types or levitate. There's nothing that ignores ground on Junxi's team, and I think nothing that actually even resists it.
Well, so we're going to Golden Go Protect there out of Junxi, and here comes the big Earthquake here. This should knock out Incineroar, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, no doubt that's going to get rid of Incineroar here.
And that means, unfortunately, the second Stomping Tantrum from the Dragonite's not going to connect, but I forget about this, but if it hits the Protect, does it become 150 base power?
I thought it didn't.
I forget, because I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
I always forget, but I always am like, oh, this would be such a cool thing to do, and then it doesn't, and that's not how it works. But in any case,
the Tyranitar is coming
we
out.
do actually get the Scarf Tyranitar. We get to see if Scarf Tyranitar is faster than Garchomp. I think it is. But either way, I think it's still easy enough for Garchomp to just keep clicking Earthquake, or even it could go for Protect just to scout turn. Especially if you have the Incineroar in the back. I didn't actually see who Geo swapped into.
Yeah, he locked in Incineroar. He locked in Incineroar.
If you have the Incineroar in the back to intimidate the Tyranitar, that feels pretty good, and then it'll be locked in to whatever it's doing, so you'll know what it's locked into.
And when you know when you know that the Dragonite is locked in a Stomping Tantrum, that means that there's a bit of a problem, which this Tyranitar actually is showing. It's that although you can hit it with Rock Slide, you can never flinch Dragonite, so it was either you're going to take a Stomping Tantrum or you're going to take an Earthquake. Yeah. Or, even better, you'll have to Incineroar take the Rock Slide much better with the Intimidate drop.
Yeah, and Incineroar is also putting out Fake Out pressure now. Worst case scenario, Golden Go just does a Gorillion damage to Incineroar, but I don't think that actually matters all that much.
There's Icy
Wind, yeah. This is why Junxi, part of the reason why Junxi has the Choice Scarf is for the
5 damage!
Yeah. And it doesn't matter against Incineroar. It would matter against Garchomp, but...
Shadow Ball doubles into the slot, so it will be a +2 Shadow Ball. Yeah, that's not really doing a whole lot to that Assault Vest Incineroar.
Not doing a whole lot at all. And I think Geo here is probably just going to go Fake Out into the Tyranitar, and then maybe just an Earthquake.
Why would would he Earthquake his own Incineroar?
Yeah, why would you want your Incineroar around? What do you need it there for?
Fake Out pressure!
Yes, you use your Fake Out, and then you're done. Like, I don't think that Incineroar actually gives you anything after the Fake Out that it is about to give.
Well, we're gonna find out right here, and Earthquake would knock out both these Pokemon, and
I think Earthquake just clears the field, except for the Garchomp. And I think as long as we will still get to know whether the Tyranitar is faster or not. Assuming no switches.
Or protects.
I mean, we'll still find out, but it means the Golden Go is going to stay standing this turn.
Fake Out is a Tyranitar, so no Icy Wind coming out from this Tyranitar, which was never outspeeding the Garchomp, unfortunately.
That is tragic.
And here's the big Earthquake. This will knock out both Incineroar and Tyranitar.
Yeah, it sure will.
Unless, of course, the Tyranitar has enough bolts to survive it. No, it will not.
Nah, I don't think it does. And I think...
I think you just go Extreme Speed now with the Dragonite.
Yeah, you can bring out the Dragonite and go Extreme Speed, or even, depending on what the last Pokemon is, I mean, if it's Amoonguss or Ursaluna, you can go with Ice Spinner.
Golden Go's taking more Sand Chip damage. And all the Junxi has saw from Geo was Dragonite, Garchomp, and Golden Go.
Yeah.
Oh, and Incineroar.
Yeah. I think he's seen all 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to.
Even still, it's difficult to, and that's always the thing about playing against Geo, is that it's always difficult to even figure out what you're supposed to do against him in a lot of cases, because you just get pressured so much every single turn.
And Junxi cannot find the double protect there onto the Golden Go.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the Extreme Speed landing on it as well. Down it goes. So now it'll be a single target. I mean, not really a single target, because Dragonite's floating in the air if it goes for Earthquake. So your best damage over ground type moves will be Stopping Tantrum. And no, I guess not coming out. So that might be doing about half to the Amoonguss. Let's have a look. Earthquake lands. Yeah, just about half.
Yeah. Would Stomping Tantrum actually do more than Earthquake in this spot?
Spore goes into the Dragonite. Yeah, I think this game's over.
Yeah, the game was certainly over anyways. It was just a matter of the order of operations a little bit.
And now, what do you do if you're in game 2 if you're Junxi? Because obviously, Geo stepped on the gas pedal like almost a turn after he got the Incineroar out of there and got the Garchomp perfectly in position. And then just like, how does Junxi respond? Because I'm having a little bit of a difficult time finding the answer if it doesn't involve Trick Room.
Yeah, I think ideally Not necessarily with Trick Room, but ideally you probably need Porygon 2 in there. Ice Beam threatens Garchomp and Dragonite. I mean, remember, both of those are quad weak to Ice.
Before Terra.
Before Terra, and even after Terra, Garchomp's still weak to Ice, and after Terra, Dragonite's weak to Porygon 2's Terra fighting Terra Blast. But the problem is getting Porygon into a good position. I mean, I think that's the issue that Junxi is running into with this team, is that I think Junxi has answers, but he doesn't have answers that can hit the field and get enough space to actually do their answering.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to be a heavy Trick Room plan from Junxi.
I don't think I would bring Tyranitar again.
Nah, I'm starting to wonder if Amoonguss, Golden Go, and Incineroar Porygon 2 are enough for the game. Or
I think that's at least what the 4 has to be.
Because maybe there's an argument for Ursaluna to come in, but I don't know if Ursaluna is exactly the best option in this battle.
Yeah, unless you go for the Incineroar Porygon 2 lead. But the problem is, you can go for the Incineroar Porygon 2 lead, and the lead on the other side will be Dragonite Golden Go, and your Fake Out doesn't do anything. Your Fake Out doesn't do anything, and your Incineroar doesn't do anything, and they still do a bajillion damage to you. And what do you do then?
Yeah, basically, if you're thinking about it that way, and see what happens going into this game number 2 here between Gio and Junxi. Junxi under pressure now to win game number 2 to force a game-free scenario with Incineroar Porygon 2 as the lead. Gio once again going to lead Dragonite Golden Go. Well, yeah, hopefully last time.
Yeah, and that's the leads I was kind of talking about from each of these sides, but that's the problem, is that now what does Incineroar...
Oh no, attack moves from the Porygon!
Unfortunate. I mean, if you Terrasilize, you do get the benefit of the higher attack stat, but a slight benefit from that, but it's marginal. The issue here... that would be pretty nice to do, but regardless... I guess the problem here is Junxi has no way to stop Gio from just hitting really, really hard.
Which it looks like he's going to want to be doing, but this lead's actually giving Gio a little bit of a decision to make. And it's like, do you want to trick the Porygon 2 to get the EV out of the way, or do you just want to go for the raw damage?
Yeah,
and it looks like raw damage is Gio's answer.
Yeah, and how do you want to get the raw damage down? I think Gio realizes that the answer definitely needs to be getting the Porygon 2 out of the way. Don't worry about the Incineroar. Incineroar is not going to do anything to you. Just do as much damage to the Porygon 2. I think that's going to rely on the outrage of all things.
Fake Out goes into the Golden Go, reads the Terra for a second game. Yeah, I guess it's the second game in a row that he got it with a critical hit.
Crit. Huge.
So Golden Go won't be able to move in this turn. Dragonite locks Outrage. It goes into the Incineroar, unfortunately. Not enough for a knockout. And Shriekrum goes up. That's 2 games in a row where Junxi reads the Terra.
Yeah, that was the worst possible turn 1 for Gio, although I still think Gio's in a perfectly fine spot to win this game. Porygon 2 does have all of its HP remaining, but Gio also has all of his Pokemon remaining. All the damage is still there, and, that was a read on a switch.
Yeah, that Ice Beam was definitely reading a switch on something, but either way, down goes Incineroar, down goes Golden Go.
Yeah, that is actually nice, but that also means that the Outrage will definitely land into the Porygon 2.
Yeah, which might do 60% if I'm being honest.
It probably won't knock out, but it'll do some good damage, and given that Porygon 2 is the scariest part of Junxi's team, until Ursaluna takes the field.
Yeah, just around 60%. I was kind of right.
About exactly there. But
here comes Incineroar from Junxi, and I wonder... Okay, Amoonguss comes in. Okay, so fun fact, this Incineroar where Gio is not... The State Goggles, we said it was to stop us earlier. Yeah. It is Terra Grass, but Terra Steel was used earlier.
Yeah, it can't Terra.
And Ice Beam threatens a one-hit knockout on the Dragonite. I would believe so.
As well as on the onto the Garchomp in the back as well. So you can't really switch out the Dragonite because that would be the only thing you could switch it into.
No, there's Fake Out pressure from the... Yeah, that's Fake Out pressure from an Incineroar, so...
Yeah, the problem is, who do you Fake Out here? Do you Fake Out the Porygon to stop the Ice Beam, or do you Fake Out the Amoonguss to stop the Spore?
Or the Pollen Puff?
Yeah, and the Pollen Puff is just as scary.
And then the third question what do you do? I mean, where does Outrage land? Because if it lands on the Porygon 2, that's great. If it lands on the Amoonguss, not so much. Porygon 2 is going to switch out anyway. Let's see what the last Pokemon is. I would expect it to be Golden Go. No, it's Ursaluna!
Yeah, it's Ursaluna, which I like if you're going for the real hard Trick Room angle. I'm actually really
into the Amoonguss!
Play, because that was a fake out into the Amoonguss.
And the Rocky Helmet as well. Alright, where does the Outrage land? It lands to the Amoonguss.
I think that's... Oh, we'll see how much damage it does.
Oh, not enough!
Oh, this damage is so close so many times. It's actually, that's gotta hurt, Gio.
And now the stage is set for Junxi to take advantage of this Trick Room, because not only is the Flame Orb activated the Guts ability on Ursaluna, but Dragonite's also now confused due to Fatigue.
Yeah,
and Incineroar is no longer safe from Spore.
That is true. I do think I don't know. I don't love the decision to switch out the Porygon 2. I think leaving it in and just trying to knock out the Dragonite would have been ideal. I think Junxi will probably get away with it because the Amoonguss held on with the tiny amount of HP remaining. But just putting out the extra pressure on the damage dealers would have been ideal, I think.
There's Garchomp coming in from Geo. It's going to be a Spore into the Incineroar, so it will not move this turn. I would presume this Facade coming out from this Ursaluna into the Garchomp, so it will take a bit of damage thanks to Rough Skin plus and the burn it's going to be taking. As Incineroar will take its first turn of sleep, Facade goes into the Garchomp slot, and down it goes in a single hit. Yeah. Dragonite might be left going for Extreme Speed for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think it has to. Which I don't think is actually terrible for it. I think the problem is that it doesn't... You're still getting knocked out by Ursaluna. Like, you need to extreme speed the Amoonguss, and I'm curious how much HP that Amoonguss has, and what likelihood it was that the Outrage knocked out the Amoonguss, because that is a very tiny amount of HP remaining for what for what happened there. I don't know, I guess the route out of this would be if the extreme speed, like, actually knocks out the... Well, and the Rage Powder doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's Rage Powder coming out from this Amoonguss. It will redirect your extreme speed because Amoonguss was, in fact, slower because of the Trick Room.
Yeah.
And now it's more Rocky Helmet damage. And that leaves Porygon 2 and Ursaluna versus Dragonite and Incineroar, with Incineroar taking a second turn of sleep. Facade going to KO whatever Ursaluna wants. It's going to KO Dragonite.
Yeah.
I don't think Incineroar is going to bring this back.
Yeah, I don't think Incineroar is going to be able to pick up these two knockouts. Which will mean game number 3. Especially because even when Porygon 2 comes back out, it can Para Fighting to Para Blast for super effective damage.
Yeah, especially because of that. I think we are going to see that game 3 coming out in this epic game 3. I mean, this epic grand finals here at the Video Game Challenge 5. If Incineroar does not wake up this turn.
Even if it does, I don't think... Because Trick Room, well, yeah, I guess Trick Room's over, but everything's around the same speed at this point, because the center is also pretty slow. There is that Terra that I was mentioning.
Terra fighting on the Porygon 2. This is a recent trend that's been happening from Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it before Baltimore and around Baltimore, but I think it just helps you hit more stuff. But I think the Headlong Rush is going to KO. I don't think it matters because the Headlong Rush is just going to do it.
Yeah, and that is now game number 3 for Giovanni, Costa, and Junxi Su. And we will have one more game for today.
Yeah, and that was really good by Junxi to manage the... To manage that there, to get the Trick Room up, to get the... Ursaluna in. I guess the big problem is that I think, and this is the Pokemon of it all, but if you play that game out like a couple more times, how many of them does Geo win based on some kind of RNG thing? I'm honestly not sure, and I think, because I think the lead at least for Geo is still steady. I still think the Dragonite Golden Go is ideal, and the problem ends up being whether Junxi has a consistent punish to that.
I mean, he's been consistently going for fake on Golden Go.
Yeah, and I mean, this time does Geo just say, I'm just not going to Terra my Golden Go away? and do the Outrage Make It Rain and see if that knocks out the Porygon 2, because I think it does. It's still Specs. I still think that gets it if both the moves hit into the correct one.
And if that's the case, then if Trigger never goes up for Junxi, I think he's going to be in a bad position to really put an emphasis to win this league challenge, because once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 5 here. I mean, oh my god, game number 3! Game number 3 here. It's Incineroar Golden Go this time around for Junxi. It's going to be Dragonite Golden Go for Geo, so at least there is an answer to Fake Out remaining the Terra, but now it just comes down to whose Golden goes faster, or if it ends up being the speed tie again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also, do you go for the Fake Out into that Golden Go for a third game in a row? Do you anticipate Geo to change anything there, or do you accept the possibility that you're going to get nothing out of your Fake Out? And also, what does this Dragonite do? Because again, in that game number 1...
Stopping Tantrum's like his only option, I believe.
I mean, you could have gone for example, an Outrage to try to hit a Terra Dragon Golden Go, like what Junxi did turn 1 in game number 1.
Geo once again Terras.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Terra Golden Go again.
Okay, he did it for a third game in a row. Okay, so did Junxi quick Fake Out that's off for a third game in a row?
For a third game in a row.
Obviously, it's a threat, but how much does it a threat to Junxi? Where does the Fake Out go? He got it again!
He got it again, wow.
And Shadow Ball goes into the slot.
Will that matter? Because it eats the Fake Out, or it eats the Shadow Ball. And without the Terra here, Dragonite does get to use a Stomping Tantrum.
We know that Incineroar takes at least one. There is a survival. I guess now it's just whose Golden goes faster.
Yeah, is it speed tied, and who wins the speed tie? It's actually, I think that Geo's Golden Go was positioned to move first in the last one. It flinched before Junxi's moved, if I'm not mistaken.
I would think so as well, because there is a real possibility that...
And even then, it doesn't matter now if Junxi gets the Terra onto the Golden Go, because that it will drop to Stomping Tantrum plus Make It Rain regardless.
Oh, it's Incineroar going to switch out there for Junxi, so whatever comes in is going to be taking a big load of damage. Should it be a little bit unlucky with how the turn plays out, which is going to be that Amoonguss coming in. And, okay, it's a Make It Rain coming out, which will knock out the Golden Go, put Dragonite pretty in range for another Make It Rain. And now it just comes down to what the Dragonite did, which I think I saw it lock into Stomping Tantrum onto the Golden Go, which did which will do a lot of damage. Yeah, because that's a choice, man. It gets it perfectly. Does it get the KO? It does! Yeah,
it sure does. But
so both Golden goes down.
Both Golden goes down, but I think this is pretty good for Junxi. You can bring your Incineroar back out if you want. You can also... I don't know what else you have in the back. It might be the Porygon too.
Okay, Incineroar back out.
Okay. This is balance.
And another Incineroar joins the fray.
Yep. And at this point, you can use your Fake Out against the other Incineroar and try to get a Spore up onto the Dragonite. I think at this point, Junxi's ideal game state is Spore victory.
Which looks pretty likely, because Spore on the Dragonite is going to be pretty devastating for Geo should it happen. And then I believe Junxi actually is pretty well positioned. I mean, yes, both Golden Mills went down, meaning both part of offenses are pretty much gone. Amoonguss can support the Incineroar to get back to full HP. But another important note is that Junxi has yet to Terra.
Junxi has yet to Terra. That is true. Junxi still has the Terra as an option.
Instead, we're going to switch out for Geo. What's going to be the last Pokemon of the series? It's going to be Amoonguss. And a Fake Out goes into the Amoonguss as well.
Okay.
So we get a Stomping Tantrum, which will knock out the Incineroar, meaning Junxi's down to his final 2 Pokemon of the day, which will be Amoonguss and an Unknown. Does Amoonguss Probably moving slow enough to use the Spore, and it could not find the Incineroar.
Spore. Oh, that is so brutal. Do not Spore into that slot. And it might have even been predicting.
Okay, Porygon 2 is the last Pokemon for Junxi.
Yeah, I think it has to be Porygon 2.
Does it get a special attack boost from this download? No, it does not.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Not the worst thing in the world, but you're still not in a great spot. You might Terra, actually. If you are that Porygon 2. Not that it's a huge difference, but it is, like, marginal. I think you have to get rid of this Amoonguss quick, is the big problem.
Yeah, I would have to think so as well, because if you don't get rid of the Amoonguss for Geo, you're never going to be able to out the Spore, and eventually you're going to get your Eviolite knocked off, you're going to get repositioned to it, Dragonite can spam Outrage for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the problem is that you've lost your Incineroar, and Geo hasn't.
Remember when we all thought Incineroar was falling off in Regulation H, and now it's just back?
Yeah, it's certainly putting in work now.
There's the Intimidate, gonna negate the attack boost that Porygon 2 received. Ice Beam Freeze can bring Junxi back into this game, should it get it, and did not get it, and there goes Porygon 2 to sleep.
There it goes indeed, and this could be very slow. This could be a very, very slow end game.
Right,
no, it's not actually going to be the Spore.
That's going to trigger a Citrus Berry, though.
Yeah, and the fact that it was the Pollen Puff might actually just end this for Geo, because now it means that Geo can... I was hoping for just more damage into the Amoonguss, but Fake Out is fine. Stalling out the turn and getting Dragonite in is fine.
It's always been fine. I mean, what do you want him to do differently?
Flare Blitz. just hit the thing.
What else is there? Yeah, Porygon 2 needs to wake up quick. I think for any chance Junxi needs to get back into the game, it needs to be a one-turn wake-up on the Porygon.
Ideally, yeah. I mean, I think it doesn't strictly have to be a one-turn wake-up, but it probably has to be pretty close to that. And it might depend on how much damage Amoonguss can take against the Dragonite. Because I think Dragonite can come in here and start clicking Outrage.
Yeah, because this is basically a free turn for Geo, because Fake Out clinching to Porygon Amoonguss, and Porygon 2 thinking its first turn of sleep. Meaning, now you can just launch Outrages without any care in the world.
Yeah, and... Yes, you could also... I don't know. This is how you play balance, is you try to get the other person to waste turns, and you to waste fewer turns. And Geo's trying to make the slowest progress possible. If Junxi makes the craziest read of all time and is successful on waking up...
Wait, Dragonite swapped back into Amoonguss, so...
Because now if Junxi decides to Spore, I guess, or Protect, but if Junxi decided to Spore into that slot, then it would have been a wasted turn.
Knockoff gonna get rid of... Yeah, there goes the Eviolite, that's permanently gone. Porygon 2 does not wake up on 2 turns.
Yeah, and that means that Geo would have gotten away with it and still gets away with it, and now you can honestly start Spore trapping the Porygon 2 here, where you just keep clicking Spore into that slot, and whenever it wakes up, it'll go immediately right back to sleep. Alternatively, you can just start hitting the Porygon 2 and see if you can get rid of it.
Yeah, and then it just becomes a little bit of a slow and painful end to Junxi's run, because the more time that this Porygon 2 is going to remain asleep, the less damage output it will have, and Junxi finally going to click the Terra button. Presumably we'll be fighting under the Porygon 2 than it is.
Yeah. Which is fine. I think that's... There's no downside to doing this. There's not a ton of upside, but there's certainly no downside.
Flare Blitz goes into the Porygon 2. How much damage? Not enough for the knockout, but another one will finish it off. What's next here? Porygon 2 does wake up on 2 turns. Will launch Terra Blast Fighting to its target, which will be the Incineroar, but there was no special attack boost anywhere to be seen, and because of the Assault Vest as well, Incineroar takes it pretty handily, and then down goes Amoonguss with the Spore on the Porygon 2 to put it back to sleep.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Geo is trying to do, is just say, okay, even if you get one hit off, I will still Spore you, and this game will be over.
And the Spore returns back to the Incineroar as well.
Yeah. which is nice for Junxi. The problem is that, I mean, now now both sides can side Pollen Puff.
Oh no, are we gonna stall out this game too?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a minute.
Oh man, Porygon 2 will take his first turn of sleep here with the Terra Fighting enabled. Pollen Puff for Geo will go first onto the Incineroar, which will get it back in a comfortable range where Assault Vest will come in handy. But Pollen Puff also lands on this Porygon 2. Problem for Porygon 2 specifically, the EV Light's gone.
Yeah, the EVO Light's gone. I think Outrage probably just... It doesn't knock it out straight up, it knocks it out from pretty close to, like...
Oh, Incineroar gets a one-turn wake-up!
Yeah.
Flare Blitz goes into the Amoonguss. How much damage? It's a knockout!
I was gonna say, that was always something that it was threatening the entire time, and it just decided not to, because it didn't really provide a whole lot of benefit, and also would have done a lot of damage in recoil.
Oh, Porygon 2 also gets a one-turn wake-up here, and launches an Ice Beam onto the Amoonguss. Doesn't even do half damage. No freeze either. Back to sleep it goes!
Yeah, and that's the that's the Amoonguss gameplay.
That is the Amoonguss gameplay, and I think that is the writing on the wall for Junxi. Giovanni Costa played a stellar game. He came in here undefeated. The battle is canceled. Giovanni Costa 7-0. Now goes to 8-0 to finish on Gym Challenge 5 with the victory.
Yeah, not much to say about that other than. Yeah, one of the top players in the country. I mean, as we kept saying, like, always had the correct ranges and damage in mind, and even in that last game where it definitely took a little while, that is for sure. I think that Geo always had it under control to a degree. The big thing was always just make sure that Dragonite doesn't get hit by Ice Beam, so it doesn't take, like, really, really long. It doesn't get, like, a little bit dicey, especially around crits and stuff. And Geo did that well and just kept the Incineroar and Amoonguss out there and made sure they were able to take care of the game on their own. Yeah,
and that's exactly how it will do. Junxi Zhu, well, good run that he had, but probably need to put away the choice card, which was exclusively for the Grand Challenge, which already ended several minutes ago.
Yeah, I think the Choice Scarf Tyranitar is not going to make an appearance next time.
Yeah, and speaking of next time, our next tournament will continue on with Regulation H. It'll be next Saturday here at Psychocerta Place, which will be the final League Challenge for summer.
Yeah, and all the rest of them for the year are now up on PokemonLabs.com, so go take a look at that. All the dates available.
Yeah, with all of that being said, this has been Dennis Geisler, I have been Jesus Coronel, this has been Psychocerta Place, and we will say so long to you, and we'll see you guys next time.